Well, Photoshop is usually the best way to modify pixel-based images. There actually are some things that Illustrator does quite well. And so if that saves you going back and forth to Photoshop and then back to Illustrator, it's a good thing. So this video is going to show you, first of all, how to crop an image, and then secondly, how to create a clipping mask. And Illustrator is particularly well suited for that because your clipping mask can be a vector path. But let's start off with the crop tool. So this is relatively new to Illustrator and it's quite easy to use, but you do need to understand something that happens. So you'll notice that I have two copies of this image in Illustrator, one on the artboard and one over here on the pasteboard, and both those images are shown here in the links. So I'm going to click on the image that is in the artboard, and I am going to go to the Object menu, and I'm going to pull down to Crop Image. Now, I've turned off my dialog, but chances are when you do this, you will get a little message saying, when you crop this, that Illustrator will embed a copy of that picture in the document. So that is what's going to happen. So to crop those, quite simple. I can just drag any one of these handles, either on the corner or the sides, and just get rid of however much of the image I want. So once I hit the Enter key or the Return key, it will get rid of everything that is outside of those dotted lines. So I'm going to say that's good. I'm going to hit the Enter key, and that image has now been cropped. Now, if you look in the links window again, you will notice that something has changed. So this image over here is this image here that is still an active dynamic link. But if I click on this, the cropped image, you'll notice that this doesn't have a title anymore, and it has this little weird icon over to the right. So what that is telling you is that this image is now embedded inside of the Illustrator file. So that means if you need to get to this, you can, but right now it doesn't exist anywhere but within Illustrator. So if you wanted to get that image out of there, you can go to the menu for the links window here, and you can say unembed, and then it will allow you to save that image onto your hard drive. And so I'm not going to do that here, but just know that anytime you have an embedded image, you can indeed get it out of Illustrator if you want to. Okay, so that's all there is to cropping. It's a pretty simple proposition. So again, you find that under the Object menu and just pull down to Crop Image. Your image does need to be marked before you do that, though. Okay, so I'm just going to delete this guy. I don't need him anymore. Let me just drag a copy in of this, and we don't really need the links window anymore. Okay, so let me bring in a copy of this guy here. You probably recognize him. And what's nice about this, just like with a clipping mask in Photoshop, is that even after you've masked something, you still have the ability to adjust both what is being masked and the clipping item itself. Now, there is something really, really important. And if you don't get this right, then your clipping path isn't going to work. The object that is the mask must be in front. So in that case, it's the black monster here. The image which is being masked must be in the back. So masking object to the front, image to the back. That must be true. The other thing that must be true before you can create a mask is that you must have both objects marked. Now there is a little piece of business I have to deal with here, is the eyeballs here. I do not want those to be part of the mask. So I'm going to, this is currently grouped, I'm going to ungroup this, and then I'm going to click on just that outer shape, so you'll see the eyeballs aren't active anymore. And then I'm going to click on the picture. So the two things I need to be true are true. The masking object is to the front, and both the mask and the picture are actively marked. Then I can go to the Object menu, and I can pull down to Clipping Mask, and you'll see the choice I have there is to make a clipping mask. Boom. So it is that easy. So any vector shape you have can be a mask for any other image you have. So can this have multiple things in it? Could you mask another vector object?
I don't know.
Yes, both of those things are true. So let me show you that. I'm just going to undo this, and then I'm going to pull in a copy of this type right here, and I'm going to go ahead and make that type white, and let me rotate this a little bit just so it kind of fits in here. All right, let's see. Yeah. Now I have a problem, is that this is in front of the masking shape. So if I try to mask right now, that isn't going to work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this guy to the front. So Object, Arrange, Bring to Front. And now the picture, the type are behind the masking object. So I'm just going to mark all those things. And then I am going to go to Object, Clipping Mask, Make. And you will see that the type and the image have now both been masked. Now I mentioned a little bit ago that you have the ability to modify the image or the mask even after you've made the mask. So to do that, guess which arrow you're going to use? Well, you're going to use that white arrow tool because in essence this clipping mask is a group. It's grouped them together, and this will allow you to grab individual things within the group. So you can see I can move the type around. I can click in here and I can move the image around. Let's see more of that monster, please. And then what if I want to modify the mask here? Well, if I click on the edge of that, well, there's my vector path, and I now have the ability to go in and adjust that vector path in any way I feel I need to. Actually, that makes him look a bit too like a pinhead, so I'm going to undo that. But I do think I can make his teeth longer. Oh yeah. That is one scary-ass monster, my friends. Crooked teeth are always scarier than straight teeth. Oh yeah. All right. You may be wondering now, I see the type in the mask. Now, can type actually be a mask? And the answer is yes. So I'm going to just draw a box around this and group it. Yes, I know I lost my eyeball somehow. I am a professional though, and I will not panic, at least not until I've turned the video off. Okay, so I'm going to pull in some type over here, and I'm going to pull in this picture one more time. And this is kind of a difficult thing to mask in this long skinny piece of type, but I just want to show this to you well enough so you can see how it works. So the key here again, pictures to the back, masking object, which is the type, is to the front. Both of these things need to be marked, so I'm going to shift click to mark the type also. And then finally, object, clipping mask, make, and there is my image inside of the type. So I think you can see there's tons of possibilities for the type of thing you can do with this. Masking is really powerful, both here in Illustrator and in Photoshop. So I encourage you to give this a try soon and see what you can do with it.